Hello, everyone. This is Cheriel Brown. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It has been a while since I posted a video, probably about 2 years, but I had to come back to say something about Euphoria. Um, Euphoria. So I know the show came out back in 2019, but it really didn't get on my radar until Jacob Elordi was in Saltburn. Because I was like, when I would see trailers for the movie or advertisements for the movie, he had top billing and they talked about him in articles. And I'm just like, who is Jacob Elordi? Because they're talking about him like I should know who he is. And because Euphoria was such a breakout hit, I should have known who he was. Um, but I digress just a little bit. Yeah, like I didn't know who Jacob Elordi was. I didn't know who Sydney Sweeney was. But of course, everybody knew who Zendaya was. But even Zendaya experienced a little bit of making her profile a little bit higher because of Euphoria. Even though most people who understand the Disney machine understand that the child stars from Disney, the top ones, are going to be famous. Like, look at Shia LaBeouf when he was in Transformers. Look at like Justin Timberlake from the Disney uh, the Disney Channel show back in the day. Justin Timberlake, Carrie Russell, Britney Spears. Like, it's not a surprise when people from Disney become super famous because Disney makes sure that you are like a triple threat before they hire you. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of had heard about Euphoria around the time that Saltburn came out. And I was like, all right, it's on my list of things to watch because I don't always automatically watch things anymore, which is why I haven't really done any videos in quite a while. Ever since the pandemic, I just don't go to the movies like I used to. And I get really lazy about watching things on streaming. So, anyway, um, I literally just saw season one and season two and the special episodes of Euphoria within the past month or two. And I finally finished season one and season two and the special episodes in time to watch season three, episode one last week, like about a Sunday ago or whatever. And I was trying to get through season one and season two so I could catch up with season three because I knew season three was about to come out. And I mean, I feel like I have a love hate relationship with Euphoria. Sometimes the show is really dark and really kind of depressing. But, but seasons one and two, I think, did a fantastic job of showing someone go through the struggles of addiction. And Zendaya, like, yes, I give her props, I give her flowers because she really did an amazing job of portraying Rue. With that being said, season three, episode one, what can I say? It just feels like a different show. Um, I was talking to my favorite barista, who is also a filmmaker, and he was telling me that it kind of felt like a Western. And I kind of was thinking to myself, how in the world could it feel like a Western? What do you mean? But then I went home and I watched episode one of season three, and I'm like, okay, I see it because the landscapes are like dusty landscapes. The lighting is really bright. Um, there is imagery of like the Wild West because Rue is traveling from Mexico to the southern United States um, as a drug mule. And there's more imagery of like cowboys when she goes to the strip club and the guy that owns the strip club is doing the paces and turns around and shoots an apple off of her head. Okay, so yeah, it feels like a different show. Like stylistically, even the tone of the show feels different. Like it doesn't really feel like a gritty prestige drama anymore. It feels like something that is dark comedy. Like there's so many like jokes in the episode and the writing, and I'm just like, what happened? What is this? So one of the decisions that Sam Levinson made was to fast forward in time with the characters, because the problem is that these characters were like, the actors were like in their 20s back in 2019 when they were playing high school students. And then years, literally years passed and they became even older. So trying to keep them in high school probably would have been problematic, because we can no longer use a suspension of disbelief to pretend like these people are high school students. So what did he do? He fast forwarded in time and there was a huge time jump to make them all adults now. And I agree with that. I think that was a good decision to make. But the problem is, guys, I don't know what's going on with this lighting. I'm filming this on Zoom. So, and it looks like from my end that the lighting is like flickering off and on or whatever. But this is the easiest way for me to record something. So this is just what it's going to be. But what was I saying? So fast forwarding in time, the time jump, I agree with that. I think that was a good idea. But I think the time jump should have been with them getting out of college and trying to find their way as adults. Just because I feel like some of the, like, television, what I tell my students, television is all about the character arc. It's the long form character arc of how these characters grow and mature and evolve. That's the whole purpose of watching movies, watching stories anyway, is to see the transformation, the character transformation. This is what I tell my students at Howard University. By the way, that's where I've been, you guys. I stopped making the YouTube videos. I got really focused on teaching at Howard University. I teach script writing now at Howard. I just finished up my second year teaching script writing at Howard University. I've been busy. I wrote a couple of new scripts. So yeah, but here I am talking about Euphoria season 3, episode 1. So yes, we talked about how it visually looks different. Season 1 and season 2 of Euphoria was really beautifully shot. The lighting, the cinematography is so on point for season 1 and season 2, but just season 3 just felt different. Um, Also, yeah, the time jump, I feel like it would have worked better if we saw them getting out of college. If we saw Maddie trying to get that job as an assistant at a manager's office. If we saw Lexi get her assistant job on the soap opera. If we saw them kind of struggle through that or trying to grow through that, that would have been great. Also, I just kind of feel like, what has Cassie been doing since the end of season 2? Because she seems to be like a trad wife. Like, she just kind of sits around at the pool sunning herself, um, talking about doing OnlyFans because she wants $50,000 flowers for her wedding. I don't know. Cassie just feels like a different character to me. I never saw Cassie. I feel like other characters on the show would sexualize Cassie, but I never felt like she really saw herself that way. I always thought of Cassie as pretty smart and, pretty friendly and nice. And I don't know, I just feel like she's a totally different character. And speaking of characters who are different, let's look at Nate. Nate is kind of a psychopath. But he's a very three-dimensional psychopath, because I don't always think of Nate as bad. I think Nate does things to get what he wants, or to get to the bottom of something that he sees as an issue. But Nate just seems really, in episode 1, like, mind you, now I have not seen the other episodes yet. I have not watched the rest of season 3. I know that season 3 episodes are still being released week by week, so I'm going to catch up eventually. And I may not do any more videos about season 3. It depends on if I have anything to say. But Nate just seems different, kind of domesticated, kind of boring. Their whole storyline is boring, with them planning their wedding and Nate having money problems because he took over his dad's business. Yeah, like, I just wasn't feeling the storylines. And the whole Rue thing. So Rue is a drug addict, right? Or yeah, she has an addiction. And addiction is a disease. And the thing about addiction is, I feel like they did a great portrayal of showing Rue's struggle with addictions in season one and season two, but now she's a drug mule, which seems so crazy and absurd um, in itself. She's a drug mule and she's transporting drugs to Mexico, from Mexico to the United States and everything. And I'm just like, they don't deal with the issue of temptation, because I'm questioning to myself, like, how is Rue not tempted to use the drugs that she's transporting? Because that's what got her into the situation in the first place. Deciding that she wanted to get free drugs and tricking Lori into giving her a bunch of drugs to sell. And then she started using the drugs. And now she owes Lori $100,000 because the $10,000 at the end of season two was raised to $100,000. And so she's been working for the past several years trying to work off her debt to Lori. Okay, whatever. I'm just like, I feel like I don't have patience for Rue's shenanigans with drugs for season three. And it's like, I feel like Rue also doesn't have enough reflection on her life choices. Like, I know Rue was very apathetic in seasons one and season two, and she didn't want to live and all this and all that. And now I'm just like, so she's okay with the life that she chose? Like, she doesn't feel any kind of way about it? She obviously doesn't, because she's trying to trade up her career as a drug mule and now become somebody who works in a strip club. And it's just like, and I'm not judging this at all. I'm not judging people who work in strip clubs or who are drug mules. People do what they got to do. But I just feel like, where's the evolution of Rue's character? And this whole thing about Rue deciding she's going to read the Bible and try to give believing in God a chance, it just feels like, can we have like some type of progression for this, or not just throw it out in the first episode? Like, okay, now I know we talked about this in the special episode when I'm in the diner with Ali, and now I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to try believing in God. It just, where's the progression? Sam Levinson does not have a writer's room. And I think that's a problem, because I feel like the show could be a lot better if he had other writers to bounce his ideas off of, and if there were other writers working on the scripts. Pure and simple. Um, so all of the dialogue sounds like Sam Levinson knows nothing about religion, nothing about the Bible. It just kind of sounds like stuff he's heard, and he put into the scene, stuff he's heard about the Bible, like he's never actually read the Bible himself. It was just really bad. It felt like reading my students writing when they don't do the research that they need to do for their characters or for a scene. And the whole religion scene where she's deciding she's going to read the Bible and she's talking to Ali about the Bible, it sounds like neither one of them knows shit about the Bible. And I just felt like this is just such weak writing, this whole scene. But I do want to do another YouTube video about the special episode where Rue and Ali are at the diner at Christmas, because that was extremely well written. That was so beautiful and so great. I also really like the special episode that featured Jules. Oh, so let's talk about the fact that Jules is not in episode one of season three. Why? I don't know, because they spend so much time on Rue being a drug mule. But Jules is not in episode one of season three. They simply just mentioned something, hearsay, some gossip between the characters, that Jules, I'm sorry, is now working as a prostitute. Why is Sam Levinson so obsessed with this underworld of criminality and darkness? I don't really know. I just feel like, I guess that's the show that it is. It is what it is. And that's what I signed up for when I watched it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I watched Euphoria because it was a hit show. It was a lot of buzz about it. People were talking about it. Do I really like it that much? I don't know. Season one and two were interesting enough to watch the whole thing. Episode one of season three, I don't know if I want to watch the whole season. But before I sat down to shoot this video, I saw some articles on Apple News about a major character being killed off on Euphoria. Please don't spoil it for me. Please do not put in the comments who it is. That's the only thing that's motivating me to watch this season, honestly. So Yeah, those are the things I have to say about Euphoria season 3, episode 1. Um, I really wanted to know what they did with Fesco's character, the character that was portrayed by Angus Cloud in seasons 1 and 2. Fesco was my favorite character. I'm not gonna lie. Fez was my favorite character. I felt like he was compelling, he was sweet. I really liked him a lot. I liked the whole Fez and Lexi little relationship that they had in season 2. Um, but he died in real life, so I wanted to see how are they going to handle that. And I feel like Sam Levinson was so shaken up by Angus's death that he couldn't bear to kill him off on the show, so he put him in prison for 30 years. But it was so easy to have just given the fans closure with Fez's character, because Fez got shot like in the stomach at the end of season 2 in the last episode. He could have easily been killed off and we've just gotten closure. But instead, they put him in prison for 30 years, but he's gone. So we're not going to see him in season 3. And I feel like you could have just given the fans closure, because then obvious, I don't know. I just don't really agree with the decision. But I do understand that he's a real person that Sam Levinson worked with and loved very much. And so I understand that he could not separate the art and the craft from real life and just give the fans closure with Fez's character. But that was one of the things that I really wanted to see. One of the other things that I want to see is how Eric Dane's character, who also passed away in real life after season 3 was shot and filmed. I want to see how they deal with his character, Nate's father, in season 3. Because at the end of season 2, it looked like he went off to prison or he got arrested or whatever. I don't know yet. But that's also another motivation for me to watch season 3. I want to see if they're like how they handled that, because he had a very serious illness while filming was taking place. And I'm very curious to see how they dealt with tragic happenings in real life um, with the characters on the show. So that's all I have to say about episode 1, season 3 of Euphoria. I don't know if I'm going to come back and say anything else about any of the episodes in season 3. It really depends if it motivates me to say anything. There might just not be anything to say. But I do want to do a video at some point on the special episode with Ruin Ali, because that really felt like a play to me. It really felt like great character work and great dialogue and great acting. And I think I might want to talk about that in some more depth and some more detail. But until then, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to it, share it out with your friends. And I will see you next time. And again, this is Joy Cheriel Brown. Bye.